We are back again. If you want to get technical, it's been a full week since the last episode. Absolutely. There's
Yeah.
no possible way that we wouldn't record once a week. We're very consistent, very thorough with our podcasting. Um, so, episode four, we're back. Um, Zach, you want to tell us a little bit about what we're talking about today? This was your pick. I watched it, but I don't want to taint your thoughts and feelings with my sentiments. So, take it away, man. What are we watching this week?
So I chose Guardians, the 2017 Russian superhero film. I figured with some Marvel stuff coming back this year, why not watch something a little different?
Let's give another country the opportunity to be the heroes, you know? Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Guardians, I don't even know, man. I'm truly speechless while watching this movie. Um, a little background for Guardians, the 2017 Russian movie, not to be confused with Guardians of the Galaxy, not to be confused with any other movie with the word Guardian in it. It's Guardians, sometimes called The Guardians, depending on who's talking about it. But in a nutshell, Guardians is um, during the Cold War, there is a Russian USSR organization called Patriot, and Patriot has been tasked with creating a superhero team. Um, the team of superheroes includes like different team members from the different Soviet republics within the USSR. Um, this team of superheroes is created, but then they are kind of scattered to the wind where they have to hide in different ways. But an old evil, an old friend returns, and they have to bind themselves together to become the world's shittiest superhero team. Um, that's Guardians in a nutshell, man. If you
Yeah.
just listen to that, you'd be like, "Oh, it's the Avengers." That's kind of what they were shooting for, a little bit. A lot of people have also made, and I'll say, I when I watched this, I had not really looked at it too hard. I looked at it, I was like, "What is this?" I skimmed through. I was like, "Okay, I'm watching the right movie." I had not seen it before I watched it this week. Um, it does sound like the Avengers when you kind of read it off the
Yeah.
internet or off, but it actually is more Fantastic Four than it is Avengers to me. Um, I don't know if you got that impression at all while watching it. Did it feel more Avengers like than Fantastic Four, I guess?
I'd agree. More Fantastic Four. Like
In a
they
in
they
a
wanted to do Avengers, but
Yeah, what we wanted was Russian Avengers. What we got was Russian Fantastic Four. And at the time of this podcast recording, there has not been a good Fantastic Four movie to date. There are fun ones, but there has not been a good one.
yeah.
This somehow is the worst Fantastic Four like movie we've ever gotten, considering how bad the other Fantastic Four movies are. This is still worse. Um, the the whole plot is there's a fucking Russian super scientist who's tasked with making this superhero squad that's going to defend the motherland, can defend Russia from all the crazy threats. Uh, they want to utilize these superheroes in whatever way they can, and functionally they create these four main characters, which are introduced right from the get. I will say the credits. I usually don't pay that much attention during the opening credits of a movie. Like I'm usually getting settled in, having a little drink, eating some popcorn, whatever. The opening credits of this movie is actually the fucking first 10 minutes of the plot. It like shows them creating the characters and shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. Uh so it was like, oh, I should probably pay attention Because then the movie starts and it's just like it just starts
Yeah.
flying through the the I guess he's not evil in the beginning. He's not a villain in the beginning, but the scientist, Dr. Kuratov, is tasked with creating the super squad. We end up with four main characters, which I wrote down because I would absolutely fuck it up if I try to go off the top of the dome. Um, so the four main primary characters are Arsis, who this dude turns into a bear, a full grown bear. With that being said, before we go any further, Guardians, welcome to the BCU.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, are we really into bear movies, my dude? So Arceus turns into a full-on bear. There's Khan, who has like crazy super speed, but also has these like gigantic sweeping swords that he uses. Um, there's Lur, who is a master of earth, but very specifically stone. He controls stone. He can like put rocks on as like a piece of armor, also known as the Thing. Um, and then I think it's Xenia. She's
Yeah.
invisible, but also controls water. So we've got somebody who can transform loosely, which you could attribute that transformation to Johnny Storm. You know, Flame On. He doesn't say Bear On, which I think would have been sick. Uh, he snaps his fingers, Bear On, and then it just becomes a bear. Um, there's not a necessarily a true speedster within the Fantastic Four core four, but you could argue that Johnny Storm is able to fly incredibly fast. So I think you can use that as kind of the comparison, the through line. This motherfucker can put rocks on his body. He looks like the Thing. He sounds like the Thing. He feels like the Thing. The only thing that would have made it more interesting is if Michael Chiklis was in this movie, um, or if Lur had said it's clobbering time in Russian, maybe.
Yeah.
And then you have the one female character, main primary female character within the super team, not within the movie, but within the super team, and she's invisible. How much more clear can we make this? This is a Fantastic Four knockoff. Like, it's Russia's first family is what I'm dubbing this movie. Um, crazy, dude. It, it's the same fucking premise. Uh, Dr. Kuratov, the villain, literally looks like a one for one recreation of the villain from Iron Man 2, Mickey Rourke, when he
Yeah.
plays
Whiplash.
Vanko, yeah, Whiplash. It's like this, he looks exactly the same. It's like this, it's like you got these fucking whips coming out of his hands. He's got like the structural metal like on his back to like because he's hulked out and super strong. Um, so it's like all the Marvel stuff kind of mashed together,
Yeah. Kind of reminded me
but then
like
also,
the leader mixed with Whiplash. Just the
yeah,
way he's
yeah,
all deformed and shit.
yeah, and and also like a little bit like when you see Deadpool, not in the Deadpool universe, but in the X-Men universe, when you see him for the first time, and he's just like the bald head, the like fucking glistening skin, you know. It's like the directors and the producers of this movie looked at what the Marvel universe was doing and they cherry picked the worst possible parts of it. Um, because Iron Man 2, it's fine. People don't love it. Fantastic Four, up to this date, people do not love those movies. Um, the Deadpool experience in the X-Men universe, people do not love that at all. It's like it's terrible. Um, but we watched it, and did you find any redeeming qualities through it at all?
No.
I did not. I did not either. Um, did you have any when you recommended it? Like, did you have the context of it being considered one of the worst films ever made?
No, I didn't actually. Like someone had told me it was decent. I don't remember, but they lied.
It's a lie. That is a 100% lie. Would you go as far as agreeing and saying it's one of the worst movies ever made? Because that is kind of the prevailing, like, when people talk about this movie, most people reference that it is genuinely amongst some of the worst movies ever made. Do you agree with that? Or do you think it's like even partially better?
I think it could be down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It deserves to be down there. The For a movie that is functionally 100% CGI at times, the CGI is terrible. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking 2017. This isn't 2004 where people get a pass for the CGI being really bad. Um, 2017 is like we're we're in 2025, but we just started. So we're 7 years removed from this movie getting made. There were probably indie films 7 years ago that contained better special effects than this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There are there was almost no narrative element that was interesting to me. Like the creation of the main characters, like I said, is like 80% covered through the credits. There's no dialogue, it's just happening over under the credits.
Yeah.
The motivations are so strange. Like first the team is hiding because they don't want to be hunted down. The team gets back together, they're reluctant to be together, they don't like each other, and then there's like these weird, like not very nuanced, like actually I'm gonna protect this one woman because she's kind of cute, and I
Yeah.
might be in love with her.
And she
Uh,
lost her memory.
but she also lost her memory. She's like an amnesiac who's parading around pretending to be like a mermaid because she can breathe underwater also. So she has this job where is like a fucking Casa Bonita mermaid. Um, Everyone else is like in exile, but she was just straight vibing in public, like like just chilling. Um, so no narrative elements that were interesting. The characters were weakly developed and frankly poorly developed in CGI. Um, the movie somehow felt too long, even though it wasn't that long at all.
Yeah. I'll say they after the credits, like 10 minutes in, they all get captured.
Yeah, there's well, because they're hear me out. When they were making this movie, the team involved, and it's not any one particular person's fault. I'm sure there's a medley of things that happened to make this movie what it is. They fully intended on there being another movie behind this. They were trying to start their own, you know, Guardian universe or whatever. There was supposed to be a sequel that was going to bring the four of them back, but then also introduce a Chinese character. And they were going to shoot parts of the movie in China. If there's one thing that the American box office does not want right now, it's a movie where Russia and China fucking combine into one superpower,
Yeah.
and start fielding a team of five absolute batshit insane heroes. Nobody wants that, you know?
Yeah. No.
Um, I just I don't know. Do you remember what you gave it? Did you give it were you kind in your rating?
Uh, 1.5.
What that is very kind. I almost gave it a half star. I was very close to giving a half star. I gave it a one. Um,
Yeah, I'd
and I
probably
think that was
lower it
generous.
at this point.
Yeah.
Like the
We
more you
just
let
we
it
just
sit, yeah.
you just let it simmer and you realize actually I'm just gonna take it off my letterboxd completely. Um, or you remove the rating and you just log that you've watched it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I don't want to rate it. It's fine. Um, it is interesting that my review and I wrote my review and then I started searching because I was like, this movie's bad. And my review was that, we actually don't see that many like Russian movies stateside. Like Russia's version of Hollywood is I don't even know what they call it. Maybe it's Moscowlywood is what they call it. uh like I'm sure that it's thriving and that there are lots of movies that are coming out that I've never heard of, that no one's ever heard of, because they never get a Western release or we never get a dub or anything or a sub for it. I'm sure there's lots of great stuff, but for this movie to have been so bad, and then brought over to the West recently, where then people got to experience it, I firmly believe that this movie set Russian filmmaking coming stateside, like set it back like 50 years. Uh,
Yeah.
how can you trust anybody involved with this production to bring another movie over here? uh,
That
which is
being said,
unfortunate.
yeah. It's like that being said, I'd watch a sequel.
You, you hear you're like first one, whack. Second one, okay. You know what this movie was missing? A Guardians of the Galaxy style dance-off scene or a musical number, perhaps.
Yeah.
If if you had told me that Arceus transforms into a bear, it picks up a barrel and then does like a fucking dance where he's pushing the barrel above his head, I'm fully in again. I'm 100% in. But we didn't get that. We didn't get any musical numbers. And there were parts of the movie that I think were probably supposed to be funny. None of it was funny. Not
Yeah.
funny at all. I genuinely do not like most of the Fantastic Four movies. Like I'll tolerate the early 2000 ones, but then like the one they did with Miles Teller and stuff is and Michael B. Jordan is truly terrible.
Fan forced it.
Um I just this movie somehow is like still worse than all of those movies, and you could not, like, I would not want to watch those again, like for any reason. Maybe just if I do, it's going to be to prep for the new one. But um, do you think a sequel with a fifth random Chinese character that they would have added, and those are their words, not my words, I'm not generalizing. They specifically said we wanted to do a sequel with a Chinese hero. Um, I'm like, there's no fucking way that movie makes it over here.
No.
Like I love lots of movies. I love movies from all over the world. Uh, there's just not a market here, I think, for how high the tensions are right now between the US and Russia and the US and China for movies where they're the our two main uh parties of opposition and things are fielding a superhero team. I just feel like it's we're mentally in not the right state for these movies.
Yeah,
So,
no.
um but when the bombs drop and we all start speaking Russian, I'm sure we're going to want the sequel. So
Yeah.
start practicing how to say "Where's Guardians 2" in Russian before too long. So 1.5 and a 1. That might be the lowest rating I've given. I think a solid one is the lowest rating I've given to anything on Letterboxd this year. Have you given anything lower than a 1.5, a 1 before? Or this year, I should say.
This year, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't remember the last time I gave a movie a 1 or lower. It's been a while. Usually a 1 is like a death sentence for a movie to me. Like I will not come back to this ever again.
Yeah. A half
Um,
stars like if I don't even finish it.
yeah, yeah, half star is just an implied like I started fucking playing Candy Crush on my phone at 30 minutes in, but I'd already started it, so I refused to not finish it. It's fine. You know what? Bad movies happen all the time. Um, it's just a bummer because superhero movies, like we give Marvel a lot of passes on them being bad because we're so passionate and we enjoy the universe in which these movies exist. But this movie does not have a universe that we're familiar with. Like
Yeah.
it just assumes that you're going to go along with these superheroes just right from the get. And it's like we don't know them. Like I don't know anything about these people. Why do I care about them?
Yeah, there's like fucking origin story. You're just getting right into it.
Yeah. It's not like, it's not like Batman where if you ask anyone in America, probably like 15 and up, you're like, do you know how Batman got started? They could probably give you a few bit pieces of it because it's just been in contemporary media for so long, but I think you're on the street even in Russia and you're like, describe the plot of Guardians, and they're like, I didn't see it. You're like,
Yeah.
exactly. Describe Batman, and they're like, so Batman's a real piece of shit. His parents die. And you're like, well, all right, yeah, good enough. I do think that I will probably uh, try and wipe this movie from my memory by watching some other superhero movies because we are so close to some new stuff. Captain America just came out. I have not seen it yet.
I saw it.
And was it better than Guardians? Had to be.
Yeah, it was. It's
um,
bottom tier Marvel, but better than Guardians.
you have the worst movies that Marvel's ever put out. Not saying that Captain America is not, but the worst movies Marvel's ever put out. Guardians is still a full 6 or 7 levels below that.
Yeah.
uh, people will tell you that Thor: The Dark World is like one of the worst superhero movies ever made. I agree with that for the most part. Guardians is still 10 levels below that because at least Thor is a character I like.
Yeah.
So, Russia, I'm sorry. You did not get it done. You did not bring these poorly developed characters into my home and make me love them. So I don't think I'll ever see Guardians 2 if that ever happens. I don't think it will. This movie bankrupted the company that produced it pretty much. So I don't think we're gonna get it. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a reboot. In 10 years, there'll be a Guardians TV show
Yeah.
where we see them when they're slightly younger and we'll grow to love them. We'll look back at the first movie, we're like, this movie was great. The sequel will come out. We'll all go to the theaters. We'll see it. We'll have a great time. Are there any other, have you, like, there are so many Marvel knockoffs and ripoffs in the universe. Like, there's few that I think about fondly. Um, like The Incredibles is an example of like taking the Marvel formula and perfecting it. I mean, Incredibles functionally is Fantastic Four if you want to, you know,
Yeah,
make a one-to-one comparison. Incredibles is incredible.
it is.
I think Guardians should have taken a lesson from that and given us a super hot mom who is truly in charge. You know, the Mr. Incredible is not in charge or whatever they call him. I can't remember his name, but I think don't they call him Mr. Incredible? Is that not what it
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
Come on. Mr. Incredible, Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Bearman, all the same.
And Man Bear
Um,
Gun.
yeah. Dude. Oh my God. I think maybe this movie should have been animated like The Incredibles.
It
Do you think
probably
that
would have
would have been
been,
better?
well, seeing the CGI, I don't know. Maybe if it was fully animated.
I don't think they have the money for that. Do you think there's any, do you think there's truly anyone out there that likes this movie?
There's got to be some people. I'm sure
I was
if you check the letterbox.
yeah, I was gonna say I actually am really curious to see uh if
I
there's anyone that gives it a favorable rating. It averages a 1.9 on Letterboxd, which is
yeah,
pretty bad.
I screenshotted some reviews. They're
Oh shit.
if you want to hear some.
Lay them on me, dude. I'm looking at it now, but now I just want to be taken for a ride of what people had to say about this movie.
So this is a 1.5 star review. It says, like the Avengers, the main villain has an eyebrowless scrotum with big juicy biceps.
It's actually a great description of him.
Half star rating. Everybody knows you never go full bear.
Yeah, he should. It would have been great if you had just been either top half bear or bottom half bear human, like a bear centaur situation. They maybe would have saved a little money on the CGI too. So,
Yeah. Russia speedrunning through every superhero film from the past 15 years.
yep, that's what it felt like.
Uh, I want to fuck Russian Nick Fury so bad.
That was Yeah, so there's a character we didn't talk about. I think her name is like Elena. Um, they the Russian government tasks Elena, this person within the military, to Nick Fury them, literally to Nick Fury them, to find each individual character, bring them together for a common cause. We got to beat this dude up. Um, but they gave her like she's got the fully blonde hair slicked back, like a thick ass line of lipstick on. Um, Everyone else's military suits were like not form fitting, but like her shit was always like hugging her body in a way that made it seem interesting. Um, and but she herself has no powers. She's just a great conversationalist, a great arbiter of what these people should be working on.
Yeah.
Those reviews are a perfect kind of encapsulation of this movie. It's just normally I'd recommend really bad movies people can probably pass on, but I wasted my 95 minutes or whatever. I would highly encourage that everyone else do it as well so that I'm not alone. Um, I believe Shout Factory released it on Blu-ray. I don't know if that's the copy you have or if you have
Yeah,
something else, but
it
there you
is.
go. Look, you probably when they do their sales, you could probably get it for next to nothing or
Yeah,
sometimes Amazon.
if anybody wants to buy my copy, I'm definitely not keeping it.
Follow, you have to follow Zach on Instagram, DM him, and let him know that you're trying to pick up his copy of Guardians. But I don't know. I don't know what I would pay for it. I don't know what it goes for. I'm actually really curious now to see, uh, because usually Shout Factories hold their value, especially if it's like a movie that they didn't do a lot of pressings on, I guess.
We got that
Um,
slipcover too, so
hey, let's go. Let's see how much this go. Ooh, dog. This movie averages about $6 on eBay,
sounds
which
about right.
$6 is $6. Not to be confused with The Guardian, which is a different movie, which does sell for $20. Yeah, $6. $1.50 is what the last one of the last copies sold for. So if anyone wants to give Zach $1.50, you're
Yeah.
welcome to his copy. You just have to pay for shipping. Uh, I wonder if I wonder if there's any. I didn't really go down the rabbit hole on this one like I thought I would, or like I normally do, where I would like run down every actor and see what they're into. I wonder if any of these actors are like elite level Russian actors, kind of like how Marvel movies have started. Well, they've always done it, but Marvel movies have a kind of a thing where they pull in like a really elite level Hollywood actor who doesn't do superhero movies and
Yeah.
then makes it a thing. I wonder, I'm just curious to see if any of these main actors are well known for anything of value, I guess.
Only one of them has a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, there's only one blue linked name on Wikipedia, and it's for the general who's in charge of deploying um, the Major Elena, who is the character, the Nick Fury in the movie. Um, but he doesn't even have a photo, so that's nothing. He's been in 60 films since 1990. This man is a prolific actor. A lot of TV movies. In fact, most of his stuff is TV movies.
It's like he stopped
And
acting right after Guardians.
yeah,
Got one thing after.
he's just really sad afterwards. You know it's bad when you're clicking on the movies and most of them have no like everything is still in Russian. There's no like the shit was not ever brought over to any other market. Um, which is unfortunate. I would love to give each individual actor an opportunity to change my mind on their abilities, but unfortunately, it's going to look that's not going to happen. Uh, According to Wikipedia, which I normally don't just read off Wikipedia, but according to Wikipedia, Arceus, the character that transforms into bear, is like people are absolutely in love with him, and I think it's because um, why wouldn't you want a man that could turn into a bear? I guess
Yeah.
I don't know. some would say that with my shirt off, I look like a bear. I don't know. Only when I go to the bars and just rip the shirt off, like, yeah, there's a bear. Like, I'm a man. But so Guardians is in the books. Um, there's so much potential for the future, though. We've this now we're 4 episodes in. We briefly touched on this in the last episode. Only one of these movies up until this point had been a movie I had not seen. Um, neither of us had seen Guardians, so we're riding about a 50 kind of a 50-50 line right now of stuff that we had viewed before and stuff we're seeing for the first time, which I think is a good split. It doesn't always have to be new to us. Sometimes it has to be interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I have some interesting thoughts for what episode 5 could be. I spent some time going through my collection and pulling some choice pieces out that I wanted to either revisit, and I was trying to justify whether I believed that they were worthy of the show in one way or another, whether I thought they were too good to be on it, or if I had seen it 100 times, maybe that's not the best one to cover. But um, I did want to pitch a few different things, and maybe we can hammer out what the potential future looks like. But also, we are as of today. I mean, we're looking March in the face. I've tried to wipe the months that I came up with a few episodes back from my memory. But we were going to say that March was martial arts was I
Oh
think
yeah.
the pun we landed on. Um, I don't know if we wanted to commit to a themed month or whether we just want to freeform it. What do you think?
Oh, we could theme it.
I mean, one a week, 4 episodes, so we're not committing a full 30 days of watching martial arts films to anything. We're just committing the 4 episodes, but um we don't have to do that. It was just a soft idea.
It'd be the second
Um
half of March.
that's right, because this yeah, you're right. So we'd only get maybe we'll just do I don't know.
We could do the
We
second
could each do
half.
an
Second half is martial arts.
martial arts, half martial arts. Just like my karate career, very short. Um, I yeah, I think so. If we do the back half, that means we each get a pick for martial arts month. But I mean, also we don't have to do that. I actually didn't come into this thinking that I was going to pitch martial arts movies, but then I was thinking about would a theme be interesting? Would a theme be something worth running down? I can tell you the movie that I had brought to the table that I'm was going to pitch for episode 5, and then maybe we'll pivot a little bit. Um, have you seen slash do you own the Takashi Miike film, The Happiness of the Katakuris? Do you have it?
I don't have that one. No, it's on my
Have you seen
list.
it?
I have not.
Oh, what? Wait, which list? The list to get, or like a list
Yeah,
that you were
list to
thinking about for the show?
list to get.
Okay, well, so I that was my initial pitch. It is a you know, it is a prime example of Takashi Miike, who, we both know who he is, but for anyone that's listening that is listening to this passively or maybe doesn't know, Takashi Miike is basically a elite level B director in Japan. The things that he's known for are incredibly over the top, typically contain some elements of like the Yakuza or Mafia, a thing like that. Super gory, super absurd. No fucking rhyme or reason to some of the things that happen in those movies. It's just about the biggest wow that he can give you. And wow sometimes is like, holy shit, that was insane. And sometimes wow is like, fuck, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Um, but he is truly one of the kings of that genre. But the happiness of the Katakuris is actually not a traditional Takashi Miike film in that it doesn't contain the Yakuza themes. It doesn't contain a lot of the stuff that most of it's not an action movie like a lot of his stuff is. Um, what it is for people listening potentially is it's a film about a family that run a like remote inn, a bed and breakfast for people stateside, that kind of vibe. But it's like a rural inn on the side of a mountain. They very rarely get visitors, but this whole family runs and operates this inn together. And then um, they get a couple visitors, and things just from the second the first visitor arrives, it just goes like 100% off the rails, like in every conceivable way. There's a karaoke sing-along portion of the movie. There's a crazy Takashi Miike does use CGI, but also he does love to use practical effects, really over the top, goofy looking practical effects. There's some really great practical effects usage for some scenes. Um, it's a banger, but it's a movie that I haven't seen in close to, I'm gonna say maybe 6 or 7 years, but I own a copy of it. Um, and I was gonna say if you had seen it, we could pivot. But if you haven't and you want to take a stab at it, that was my
Yeah,
initial bring to the table.
we could do that. Mike
Uh,
March.
dude, you want to do? I mean, do you want to do? We'll
Yeah,
start with this one, and then you want to submit a second one for the second
yeah,
movie.
yeah. Let's do that.
I have I have a lot of Takashi Miike films, so um,
So I got a few.
and the good
He,
news is he's easily available. He's so easy to find his stuff, whether physical or streaming. But
yeah, yeah, I'd have to look through what I got.
he has as somebody who, you know, when I first started buying boutique films, it was like mostly Criterion, and then it became Arrow because Arrow is really accessible to us. I mean, you've been collecting for as long as I've known you, and I didn't start. I used to collect video games and comics primarily. I wasn't always buying movies, but then we had money, we had access to Newbury Comics and Bull Moose and all of these other fantastic options, which rest in peace. Newbury Comics still exists, but they do not fucking carry movies anymore, dude.
Yeah, no.
Um, but they carry Skibbity Toilet Funko Pops
Yeah,
and fucking Pokemon plushies, which are great, but um, you cannot buy movies in there anymore, which sucks. Used to be a shining light in where we lived. It was the only thing we had that we could get good movies at besides the periodic Best Buy release.
yeah,
Um, but when I started collecting Arrow, uh, for whatever reason, Arrow was really big on releasing his films around that time and still has kind of held on to that. So I've collected a lot of Arrow movies in my life, and if I go and look at them, a lot of them are his. So um, but the happiness of the Katakuris is just weird enough that I think it makes sense. I think you could argue that this will be the first movie that we watch that is like I actually remember enjoying it. I think this could be the first movie we watch that's really good, but it's also very fucking strange. Um, so we're gonna lock that in, but then we'll do Mike March. We'll have you bring another one to the table for the second half, and then we'll be all caught up. We'll be looking at April in the face. April is just gonna be April. We're not
yeah.
we're not gonna do anything with that. We'll just watch whatever we want. But um I think that'll be a good time. Mike March. There's something there. I think that's I'll create a letterbox list that no one will ever look at. But and if you
Yeah.
haven't, if you're listening to this and you haven't followed us on Letterboxd, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I don't watch as many movies as I thought I was going to be. I'm very, very, very far behind in my year watch right now, but um, I am working on it. Um, we'll put we should put the letterbox links in the show notes for the episode.
I
Um,
think I did the last one.
oh, sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I only just listened to them. I never actually really click around to it, but um, yeah, put the letterboxd in there. Um, look, if you stumble upon this episode and you were even moderately entertained by anything we've said in the last couple episodes, drop some recommendations for the people on Instagram that I post to, and they say what's up, or they listen or they follow the page. I know a few people that I know in real life now follow the Instagram page as well. Um, Drop some weird movies. Send us a DM. leave a comment. We are just two minds that have a very similar style
Yeah.
of movies at times. So let's get
Sometimes
weird.
we can't decide.
Like Alien from LA was a random selection from the Vinegar Syndrome website because I could not figure out what I wanted to pitch. Um, but yeah, we'll lock in the happiness of the Katakuris. Uh, I hope it's it's been a long time since I've seen it. I hope I hope it remains as strange a journey as I remember it being. And with that, the last thing I'd like to add to our this episode four, um, if you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
I immediately thought flight, but then I'm like, I'm a little scared of heights at times.
But hear me out. The odds of you crashing as a superhuman flying through the air is now a statistical anomaly. It would be a wonder for you to crash, whereas now the average flight that takes off from any airport in the country, the odds of that motherfucker crashing are higher than ever. Um,
That's true. I'll stick with flight.
it's like he's like, I'm not getting on Spirit ever again. Um, Something they never talk about in movies, and I think they should, superpower related, is do you think that people that can fly through the air and they don't hide their identity, do you think those people have to talk to the FAA towers when they're like ripping through so they don't fucking blow somebody's shit up? Or do you think it's just presumed like, nah, dog, they get precedence?
Yeah, they probably get precedence.
Yeah, they're like, Superman's ripping through. It's fine. I know he's fast, but you still can't take off.
Yeah.
Um, I think my power would be the power to forget Guardians, the power that to forget that I've ever watched it, dude. I could periodically wipe one tiny speck of my memory, and it's the place where I'll compartmentalize movies like Guardians. That's my
Yeah.
superpower.
Normally you'd want to forget things to experience it for the first time again. This one you just
Yeah.
want to wipe from your memory completely.
Episode 100. I'll be like, what movie are we going to talk about? It's like, so there's this Russian movie called Guardians. I'm like, oh fuck, my power works. Um, that's my power. My power is to forget once a month. I'm able to wipe a memory, just one speck of my life away, and it's just going to be forgetting that I've ever seen this movie. All right. Well, episode five coming briefly, coming shortly, coming soon, allegedly. The happiness of the Katakuris. It should be a good time. Um, I don't know. We might drop a different kind of episode in between too. For anyone that strictly listens or just casually listens, you did drop a what was it called? Zach Stack? Was that what it
Zach
was?
Stacks. Yep.
Dude, Zach Stacks, you dropped a little something. I might, I don't know, maybe after the happiness of the Katakuris, I'll go down I'll shoot something where I run through all of my favorite Takashi Miike films that I own. Because if it's just his movies, I mean, there's like 50 to go through, but um, maybe I'll run through all the ones that I physically own, and in the interim, I'll probably buy some. So
Yeah.
we'll call
Yeah.
that Chris's Zach's Stacks, Chris Picks, Chris Picks. You have to say it fast, Chris Picks.
Yeah. It works.
I'll workshop that. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see everyone back for episode five. Takashi Miike Madness, Miike March, possibly a Chris Picks, maybe a Zach Stacks for this month. Who knows? But yeah, leave us a comment with a movie that you think is weird, strange, interesting, unique, not a Russian superhero movie. That would be sick. And we'll see y'all on episode five.
Yeah. See ya.